Ahoy there, mateys. My name is Paul J. Laverty. I am the author of the novella Man Overboard, out now. I'd like to read you a little bit of the back of it before I read you one of the stories. Welcome aboard the QE3, Queen Elizabeth III, the world's most luxurious of luxury cruise liners. Setting sail from Portsmouth to New York, it looks to be another wild acid ride, much like any other. Only on this trip, a mysterious force is boring a hole through the ship's core and threatening to tip them all into the unforgiving sea. Inspired by the stylings of John Kennedy Toole, Irvin Welsh, Hunter S. Thompson, Man Overboard is a novella of strange interlinking stories and even stranger characters, bound together by the fact that black, white, gay, straight, rich, poor, smart, dumb, weird, or even weirder, they're all in the same boat and they're all about to die. This story from it, short story, is called Mountbatten Lounge. She was meeting him in the cigar lounge again. She wasn't in favour of him breaking his 30-year stretch of not smoking, but as the doctors only gave him until the end of the year, it didn't seem to matter much. Mary was just happy going on a cruise, happy going somewhere further than Cornwall. Ron hadn't been on a plane since being shot down over Southeast Asia in an RAF training exercise gone wrong in the 60s. He didn't like going on long boat rides either. His decision to spend a chunk of his last months on Earth sailing to New York was a welcome surprise. Mary tucked her gin and tonic under her arm so she could use both her hands to hold open the heavy door leading to the lounge. The waft of smoke which hit her brought on some brief nausea, and she had to cling on to the handle to steady herself. Heading in, she saw 4 middle-aged men smoking Cubans, sipping highballs and talking US politics. Ron was by the window, sitting beneath that patch of ceiling where a hole had been the day before. It had been plastered over during the night, the fresh paint shining in the light. He had a half cigar still in his mouth, its light extinguished as he dozed. He'd gotten a nice colour about him from their twice daily walks around the deck and all that fresh air. He didn't look like someone who'd be dead by Christmas. He'd certainly last the month they were away. This made Mary regret that exorbitant sum the insurance firm had demanded to cover them to sail. Still, what was money now? Leaving England for the first time together, their last chance to do so, would be worth it. Ron hadn't smoked in 30 years. He exercised, didn't drink, and had never been sick. She struggled with her weight, her thyroid, her diabetes, and enjoyed a gin or 4. She'd always assumed she'd be the first to go, but no. Pancreatic cancer at 76, over and out. She would miss him. He was a good man, a wonderful provider. They may never have had overseas holidays, yet they'd hiked across the country, had a holiday home in the Lake District, and she'd never had to keep a job, freeing her to concentrate on her charity work in the shops. They never had children either, a cruel disappointment which healed itself over time. Ron had been understanding when she discovered this. Some men would have run. Most would have harboured some degree of resentment. Yet Ron understood, said they were enough for him, and both made the most of what they had. That was until the wound reopened a decade ago, when her sisters and her circle began experiencing the joys of grandparenthood. She'd had friends who'd lost their partners recently. Still, they were not left alone. They had their ever-expanding families. But with the ties between her nephews and nieces fraying through time, she would be very much on her own. She placed her gin down and looked out at the ocean and the grey sky and the foreboding waves that stretched ahead as far as her eye could see. "What are you thinking of?" Ron asked, one eye slowly open. "New York, I guess. Wondering if it's as big as it is in the pictures. I never thought we'd do this, you know." Ron smiled. Both his eyelids were open now, and his bright blue eyes shone as he admired the unpredictable ocean with her. "It makes me think of what we've missed out on." Mary felt a twinge of anger that this would be the first and last time they'd do this. Why now? Why New York? You hate cities. Ron's smile died. He took a breath. He looked at her, and his eyes suddenly moistening. My daughter lives there." "Your daughter?" "I've never told you because it was another time. I was with her mother briefly in Korea. I never met her. Her mother met someone else when she got home. We thought this way was for the best. Now John's gone, and I'd like to meet her. And he never thought to tell me. I nearly did, many times. My own family didn't know. I've written every year, deposited money. He looked away, no longer able to look into her eyes. I should have told you before we booked. Mary felt weightless. She thought of the private bank account he kept. She felt the room drop in temperature. Who is she? Mary managed to ask. Her name is Abigail. Abby. She's an old woman now, a mother of 3. You're a grandparent? I'm a great-grandparent of 5. You're a grandparent. Mary trailed off, struggling to get her words out. We'll be meeting her, hopefully meeting the others too. Mary went to say something, but the words wouldn't come. I know it's a surprise, Ron continued, but I need you to be there. You're the stepmother. They're your family too. Mary looked back out at the grey that was following them, overcoming them. She focused on her hands wrapped around the glass and saw that she was trembling. Please, Ron said, putting down the unlit half cigar he'd shredded between his fingers and taking her hand. It doesn't change anything. Mary thought of how he wasn't expected to see next year. She wondered what the daughter and the children and the grandchildren looked like. If they were built like Ron with thick necks and broad shoulders, or if they had fair hair with his eyes. It doesn't change anything, he repeated, almost to himself. In a funny way, though, she couldn't help thinking that it did. And that's Mountbatten Lounge, taken from my novella, Man Overboard. It's out now for free on Scribd. You can get the ebook on Scribd, or you can order it from any bookshops. It's around $15. Same with Amazon. And thank you so much for listening to me today to read. And thank you so much to Underground Rat as well for having me on. And please follow their YouTube channel and listen to all the other authors as well. Thank you.